Yep, we're live. So, welcome everyone to yet another session of the Product Teardown series with the product folks. Thank you once again for spending your Saturdays with us and hope you enjoyed this particular edition. Just to give a brief intro into today's session as well as a community for folks who are joining in new. The Product Folks is a volunteer driven community of product managers, product enthusiasts. We've been doing events for over a year, but we also have a bunch of these resources for people looking to transition, as well as a community for folks already in this journey. So do check out learnpmwith.me, which is a curated set of free resources for folks looking to transition. We also have an APM program, it's called Insurjo.club, which is again community driven. So feel free to check that out. And this is a new initiative. I think Product Teardown. This is only a third edition that we're doing today. The idea here is how do we get more insights? How do we collaborate with the industry, with the startup ecosystem that's thriving right now? Get some real problem statements from there, and how do we all solve these and try getting our brains working for interviews, for just getting our product mindset ready. So that was the idea that we started with, and I think over time getting a lot of feedback on each session from you guys, from product managers working with these companies, and how we can make this better. So if you guys have any feedback, feel free to share that with us over the next few minutes or after the session. Anything works. And we're volunteer driven, so if any of you guys are interested to contribute, feel free to DM us on Twitter, and we'd love to work together. But without further ado, kicking off this session, we have with us Akshay. Hi, Akshay.
Guys,
Awesome. Akshay is with Grofers, and I think a bunch of other folks from the Grofers team are here as well. Today's session is a teardown of the Grofers product, and specifically on how to make the user discover more categories. How do we pitch specific products, brands to the user? So would love. We've got some tremendous response from you guys, some lovely decks. So thank you to all of you all for participating. Unfortunately, we can have only three presenting live, and thanks to the team for shortlisting this. So I think we announced the winners earlier, but just doing a quick shout out once again. Ajay Agarwal, Gauri, and Shruti and Krishnamurti, congratulations to making it to the top three, and all the best. One of you all wins this, but yeah, huge shout out to everyone who participated, and hope this is more of a learning session. We're just trying to, bring some elements of incentives, but the whole idea is here: how do we learn? How do we become better with each edition? So without further ado, I think jumping right into our mentor's profile today. Akshay is currently a principal product manager with Grofers, but he's had experience across the board, worked with Microsoft in the past, Flipkart, and Amazon. He's currently looking after monetization, merchandising, and activation pods at Grofers. He's also done his MBA from IIMB. So, in case you guys have any questions, feel free to add it in the questions tab. The very brief agenda for today is we've given you a brief intro into our community. We've given you an intro into today's session. And for folks who just joined this edition, it goes like this. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll be introducing each of our finalists, give them a slot of 10 plus 2, 10 minutes to present their deck, 2 minutes of question answers. If you guys have any questions, feel free to add it to the chat section, especially for the session. But that 2 minutes is for Akshay for any questions that he might have. We finish all three. Give 5 minutes to Akshay to go through, consolidate the results, and then we announce the winners. We also have a new section introduced this time. It's called the product sparks that we have, where over the other decks, for folks who couldn't make it to the top three, but we found some really nice ideas from you guys. So shortlisted a bunch with Akshay will be sharing with us. Towards the last 20 minutes, we have a couple of questions that we got from you guys, as well as some that we had. And in case you have more questions, feel free to add it to the questions tab. It could be about Akshay's journey, it could be about Grofers, it could be about your specific struggles that you guys are having, or any questions you might have. So feel free to add to that, and we'll have a quick fireside chat as long as time permits. That's a very brief agenda, but hope you guys are as excited. So without further ado, I think handing it over to you, Akshay, in case you could just intro the problem statement a little more and walk us through today's scoring system.
sure. Thanks for us for that good introduction. Yeah, wonderful to be with you guys. I think this is the first time I'm interacting with most of these folks, and what Product Teardown does, or what they've done at least in the last two sessions. It was interesting how the participants who are breaking down the whole product and then focusing on a particular problem. That's why we decided to get involved. Uh, I'm assuming most of you would be familiar with the problem we gave, but to quickly reiterate, we gave two problems. One was any e-commerce company keeps on adding new categories, right? So we are a grocery player and we also sell apparels. Let's say tomorrow we start selling sports shoes or toy category or something for babies or something else. That now all the existing categories, they grab some attention already on the platform. Now how do you launch these categories to your users? Some of those users might already be the target user for this category. Some of those you might attract probably a new set of users to these categories, and that leads to new acquisition to the platform. So that is an interesting problem which we face every couple of months. That is one part. The other part is around Grofers branded products. So if some of you have used the app, you would notice that uh, Grofers offers its own products in number of categories. Let's say detergent powder or edibles or pulses, and our products tend to be a lot cheaper than the competitors. Now, the whole philosophy being that you maximize the savings for the users, right? And that's why we do our own products, and because the sourcing and everything is so efficient, and we don't spend much on marketing, so hence we offer those for cheap. Hence, the problem statement becomes how do you pitch those products to your potential users and make them realize the savings. So yeah, these were the two problems. Saw some really good responses, really good ideas, good effort from everyone. Quickly coming to the criteria we use to judge, uh, we used to judge till now, and I'll follow the same for today as well. We look at number of things. Um, how good you are or your presentation is on user empathy front, whether you are able to imagine who your end user would be, uh, probably a little more on the persona side. Then strategic thinking, problem solving. How do you break down your problem into specific things that need to be solved for, and then arrive at ideas. So one quick suggestion I would give to everyone presenting today, that when you present an idea, I would be happy if we first discuss the problem at hand and then come at the idea. Right? That's how it makes sense. Otherwise, an idea can be very random. It can seem very random. So the third thing is around creative solutioning. While this is important, just give me, yeah. So creative solutions are important, but more important than creative solutions are relevant solutions. So your solution has first to be needs to be relevant, and then if it is creative, then bonus marks for that. Next would be completeness, attention to detail, whether you've thought it through your ideas and the problems, and then the effort and research you put to understand the user, understand the problem at hand. And the last is around communication, whether you're able to pitch your idea well and make us understand what you thought of. So yeah, these would be number of things, and based on these 6 or 7 criteria, we'll arrive at the total score for you. Uh, I'll keep it simple. I won't share details of each and every uh, component. I'll share the final score probably, or just the finalist based on that. So yeah, looking forward to good presentations today. All the best, guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akshay. And hope that guys gives you a brief idea on, what to prioritize even outside of this competition. Great points here on, how do you structure your decks while you're, interviewing, or even while, you're on the other side of the table. What are some key factors that senior product managers really look at? So with that, jumping right in, for our finalists this time, we have a quick shuffler. Let me just share my screen as we get started. Just, yep. Um, Let me know if you can see my screen. So we have our top three finalists. I hope you guys just give me a yes in the chat section if you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. So I'm just sorting the names once again. It's not the order that I have selected. So a randomizer, and we shuffle it once more. And okay.
I think you messed up with one of the names.
Oops.
Gauri needs to be with Gauri
And
Sajid.
okay.
Yeah.
And Okay.
Ajay. Yeah.
So here we go, guys. All the best. So, Shruti and Krishna, you guys are up first. In case you could raise your hands, I would be able to bring you to the stage. And yep, I can see you now.
So as let's invite one as a speaker. Let's add one as an attendee so that both of them are there on the stage.
Okay, both have raised their hands. So, guys, could you just let me know who wants to present, or can I bring both to the stage? I'll add
Uh,
both to the stage, if that's okay. Maybe one can be on mute.
I don't know what will happen is it will replace the older person with a new one. So you can now invite Shruti from the attendee section.
Okay.
Hi Krishna.
Hey, hi guys. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for having me
Yes,
here. Hi Akshay. Hi Suhas. Hi Alan.
Awesome. Awesome. All the best, Krishna. Shruti, I'm not able to see her in the uh, participant section. So, is it okay if we start off? Is that okay?
Yeah, no worries. Even I can't see her. I think she's low on internet bandwidth.
Yeah,
Some
that's
problem.
possible.
Okay.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
worries. All the
Okay,
best, Krishna. Stage is yours.
cool.
10 minutes
Thank
plus
you.
2, no extra time. I'll give you a heads up. And
Okay.
yep, all the best.
Yeah, let me just start. 1 second.
You could do like a quick 30-second intro as well. Include that. Spend some time on the problem statement, assumptions, any personas that you have in mind. Spend some time there. Then jump into your deck.
Uh, just a quick doubt. I'm so sorry. It's
Yeah.
there on my desktop. So how do I
Yeah.
pull it now?
Alan.
So just share your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah, we
guys
can
see
see
it
it.
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, we can see.
We can see it.
Okay.
Awesome. All
Cool.
the,
Let me know when we should start, guys.
yep, your time starts now.
All right, cool. Thanks everyone for having us here. Quick intro. I'm Krishna. I work with CVR Cinemas as a CX executive, and Shruti is also there. Since she is not on stage, she is a campaign manager with Zomato. I'm not going to delve into the task. Explain you what the task is. I'll straight away jump into the approach that we use. So we use the service design framework to kind of understand what Grofers is into and the overview of the business, right? As you might see over there on the top, the orange row kind of buckets that into 5 broad categories and splits it into 5 columns until support systems, which is actually the service design framework. It kind of helps us understand end to end what a customer would be doing and what sort of goals they might be having at each and every stage, and what kind of actions will be live on our website on the Grofers end, from the Grofers end, and what sort of backstage actions needs to be performed. Let's say, for example, if an order is placed, the logistics and all that needs to be dispatched and all that, right? And what kind of support systems that you might be using, tech related systems. So this kind of helps us understand entire thing in detail. And we kind of map the service design framework with the business goals according to the respective buckets, as you may see over here. And we also put the KPIs to it. What could be the possible KPI, right? From this, like I said, we understood the overview, and followed by that, we went ahead and did some user interviews. We asked them a lot of questions. We started with our own friends group, then kind of like people referred, and we went on and on and on. Those are some of the questions that's in the orange note stickies that you see that we asked, which isn't specific to the toys and baby categories. There are also a lot of generic questions that we asked, which we have not mentioned. Followed by that, what we did, we also understood their stories, we mapped their stories, and we bucketed customers into 4 broad categories, right? The first being discount oriented customers. These are people who generally do not make a full price purchase at all, right? And they don't have any brand loyalty. They are someone who runs behind offers, either it be any e-commerce or any online grocery market, right? They will run behind that. Research oriented people, they are someone who will bank on reviews, product reviews, and like feedback and like referrals. They would like to compare within a similar product. So they do a lot of those things. Impatient customers are highly tech savvy customers, and they know what they want. They Everything is clear in their mind. and they will have some sense of brand loyalty because they are there in your platform because they like it, right? And they're highly impatient. So if your customer flows are not intuitive and not straightforward, they may not be there in your platform in itself, right? The last category is the browser. These are people like we put it over there saying the king of window shopping. They might not end up making a successful purchase, but they would like to browse and understand what kind of deals and everything is present in that particular platform. And discount-oriented customers are, from our user interviews, we have understood saying those are the people who are mainly Grofers customers fall into. Followed by that, here are some of our key findings. People who ever shop online, they would like to have the offline experience while they shop online, because in offline there is always a guy to help you make a decision and all that, right? And especially when it comes to baby care and the toy item, it's a very sensitive category because the stakeholder is the kid, right? At the end, when the fulfillment happens, you don't want the kid to be disappointed, right? It should perfectly fit them. So parents or like whoever is, even people who are gifting others, they would like to be very careful if they are getting the right product and if it's of the great quality and all that. Certain things they would really want to touch and feel. So that's something that they lack, and that's also one of the findings from our thingy. And they also bank on a lot of reviews because they don't want to end up getting the wrong product. And some of the primary needs that we map from all of these stories and key findings, they would want to explore the product that they want to with ease, with clear product search and clear product organization. And they also look for discounts and all that. Another best thing that we figured, which is a primary need for customers, is support post the fulfillment, right? Because especially in the toys and baby care categories, especially in toys, there are some toys where you might require certain tools for you to assemble it, or you might just not know how to play the board game. So whenever we categorize these items, or whenever we give descriptions, or whenever we do things, we need to introduce services, or we need to introduce relevant explanations for people to understand well in hand, and what kind of supports that we can provide. Because this is one pain point that people generally feel, and that's one of the reasons why they also prefer shopping online, because they might not just have the necessary tools and all that. So let's get into the solutioning part. Alan, is Shruti on the stage? Alan or Suha? If Shruti
Yeah,
is on
just
the
checking. I don't think she's on the
Yeah, she's
stage.
not on the. Oh, she's there. So, can you see
Okay.
Shruti? She's there.
Cool.
Just-
Do you want to bring her in, or like?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll do
if
that.
you have the time? Yeah, please.
We'll do that.
Yeah, I'd like her to explain the solutioning part. Sorry for this case.
Yes.
Hi, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry, first of all, I have like bad internet bandwidth issues, but quickly jumping in. So the first problem statement, like what Akshay has described, is we're working on the discoverability and how to improve the engagement at Grofers. So what we've done in terms of like solutioning is we've divided into different sections. So we'll be first looking at the landing section. So talking about that, it's the main banner. So the main banner is where we get a lot of eyeballs, a lot of spotlight. It's where, when someone opens the Grofers app, that's the first thing that catches people's eye. So if there's a new category that we are introducing, that's the place where we can like look into like have ads of the toys and baby care. So we're looking at how else can we look at introducing a new category, and we thought of the pop-up video. This is something that Swiggy also has. It's a non-intrusive video that's there on the site when someone switches on, opens the Grofers app. It gives them a brief idea of what's there in the toys and baby care section, an interesting video. We also thought about it in such a way that, how can we have a video section with less friction involved for a customer that's, entering the Grofers app for the first time. So that's with the pop-up video. So the next thing we're thinking about in terms of like the categories widget is we thought why not have like a navigation bar at the bottom of the Grofers app. Right now it's an endless scroll that we have on Grofers. So while introducing the categories widget, there were a couple of pain points that we thought of. So the first thing in terms of having the widgets at the bottom is the thumb rule, the thumb zone. So it's way easier for someone to access the categories when it's at the bottom of the mobile compared to when it's on top. So that's one pain point that we looked at. So the other one is like, what if we can have a category section, a page separately for the category section itself? And that way, we realized, like the screenshot that you can see below, the category section will have its own page. Again, it'll have a banner there we can use. So in a lot of apps that you can see, one of the ways in which the apps make money is through the ad section. That's why you pull revenue. So we thought if we have a second page for categories, we can use the top page here for ads, and in turn, it's like extra revenue for Gophers. And below we have different categories, each of the categories having a spotlight for its own. And also depending on, how people scroll and what categories people see in the beginning, we can introduce those specific categories and position them accordingly. So the second one is basically the push notification. Push notification nowadays plays a huge role. We have a lot of social media picking up, great content, quirky content with regards to push notification. So what if we have the right notification at the right time for the right audience? That's something that we're looking at. Again, with regards to the toys and baby care section, if we target the right kind of users with the right information in terms of push notification, once the user receives it, it can have information with regards to like discounts and vouchers that ensures that the customer touches the notification and enters the toys and baby care section directly in turn. And again, this helps them like better engage and discover new categories. The other thing that we were thinking about is why not have like an in-app notification. So when we're looking at different apps, we thought of we came across another app, First Cry, that looks into like the toys and baby care section, where they have like an in-app notification on top. But we thought that kind of like disturbs the flow of a user that's looking into the app. So we thought why not have it as a scroll. So if you see on the first image on top of the banner, we have a small scroll section there. So in terms of that, we have like any new category in terms of like with the right discounting that's there. And it scrolls along the app. So that's something that we thought of. The next slide. So the other thing that we're thinking about in terms of like the all category button. So here, the customer has decided saying that he wants to go into the baby care section and he wants to like look into say baby diapers, and he's scrolling through different brands that are there in the product menu list, and he realizes that he wants to like go to a different category and see what else is there in the baby care section. So currently in the Grofers app, what we realize is if we want to like toggle back to a different app, we have to go outside the current section, select new category that we want, and then come back. So we were thinking, why not have an all categories button within each category in itself that gives them an easy toggle between different categories, thereby also increasing the discoverability for all categories inside the Grofers app. The next one is basically the search bar. So like we all know, real estate on an app is the most critical part, and each real estate on the app needs to be utilized to the fullest. So currently at the Grofers app, we have the search bar, but that particular page doesn't have information on that section. So we thought, why not introduce like few reels there, like what Zomato or Swiggy has currently in terms of like top brands recommended for you, which also has sections regarding like the baby care brands and the toys brands that are there. So that's the search bar. The next one is filter and sort. For like a user that's already inside a particular category and wants precise search, or it could also be one of the user personas wherein he wants to quickly get inside the app, choose the right product that he wants, and he wants to quickly add it to the cart and move. So in terms of that, the sort and filter will be of huge help, wherein we can have all relevant headings in terms of like color, ratings, top sellers, top rated, new arrivals. So he can select which filter that he's looking at, and the search throws relevant information, so thereby giving them exactly what the customer is looking at. The next one is basically product ratings. Yeah, so here if you see basically
Shruti, so sorry to interrupt. I think we've just run out of time. In case you could, in case you have some closing thoughts, this would be your last slide to wrap up. So
okay, I'll quickly like have this slide and I'll end it with like two or three things. Yeah. So the ratings and the number of people rated, we thought this is something that's very critical, especially being a very sensitive and emotional topic where parents spend a lot of time in the product that they are looking to buy. The ratings give them an understanding saying that, so many people have bought this product, so it's safe to use. And also the number of people who bought the product that's right next to the 4.2 stars, that is the 540 ratings, tell you how many people have rated. So enough data gives them enough information for them to make decisions. Again, data is key. So with the lack of time, probably how do we take this? Suhas?
I'll quickly do the closing remarks, Shruti.
Yeah, this would be the last. Yep.
Yeah. So I'll quickly finish it, just 30 seconds. So everything that you see over here from now on will be, like we explained, the primary needs of the customer, right? Based on that, we have figured out, we have taken some inspirations from other e-commerce providers and as well, and have suggested some solutions. And problem statement 2, as you know, there is no one other than Amazon who has conquered the private label market, right? So some inspirations from them, and we read a lot of things and kind of figured out, whenever you search for a product, right? Why don't we also show the Grofers private label right next to the relevant search item, right? Things like that. And also why don't we have an exclusive tile or a rail only to promote the Grofers product within each and every category, so that people know Grofers is doing something special. And private labels are something that you generally resort into with a lot of trust, right? And you earn the trust from the customer, and they will just not go back. And it's also the product pricing that matters. And kind of things like the search bar that we earlier mentioned, we could also have something over here in the search functionality where it has a separate Grofers thingy itself, and a sort and filter everywhere across the sort and filter feature that's available. Especially it's needed for the toys and the baby care items, or anything that's non-groceries is what I feel, right? If they could just have a simple Grofers label filter, that would just solve the purpose, and people know, okay, there is something that's by Grofers for the customer, and that will just earn trust for people.
Krishna,
So yeah,
I'm so sorry.
thank you,
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks so much for your deck. Akshay, we don't have too much time, so maybe just one question from your side in case you have anything, or else
Sure.
we could bring it to the end.
Yeah, just one comment. I think, guys, it'll be better to manage your time well so that you focus on your most important points. But anyways, we got to hear most of it. The only question I have is, so at one point you mentioned that on the home screen you can show ads instead of category tiles. Right. So can you quickly tell me why you propose that idea, and what do you think will be what can be the potential problem with that?
Okay, so Krishna, probably I'll take this question.
Sure.
So here what we're looking at, just like what I said we'll have the ads banner on top, and below that we'll show the categories there. So the ad banner, it could be in a carousel format wherein brands that are paying you a certain sum of money, you can advertise them there, and then below we'll have the categories. That's what I meant there.
Okay, and you mentioned that categories can be shifted onto a different page or lower the scroll.
So we can have categories in the same home page, but also dedicate a separate page for categories in itself. So it gives them, it's like two pages that you have. For example, on Swiggy, you have the home page, and also you have all restaurants page, but takes you to the second page.
Okay. Yeah, what do you think would be the trade-off you'll be making? If you start showing ads, you'll get some extra revenue from there. By moving the category a little down, what do you think would be the implication?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
By moving the category section a little downwards, a little down the scroll, what do you think would be the implication? If any negative implication would be there?
So to think about it, right now, Grofers already has that banner which has the advertisement on top. So I don't see it as a negative implication over there. It's like on the first screen, you do have parts of the category section, and you have the banner. So it's not like you're compromising too much on the category section as well. So the top categories that you'd like to advertise can be on the top positioning, and you also have the ads there. So if there's anything new that you are introducing, you can show it in the ad banner section as well as position it right below that the category section.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Got it. Perfect. Thanks so much, Shruti. Thanks so much, Krishna, and all the best for the results. Thanks so much for the deck.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jumping right into our next one. Let me just share my screen very quickly. Yep, you can see it right. So, Gauri and Ajay, all the best. Next up. Okay. So we have Ajay, you're up next, and Gauri right after that. So all the best, guys. Ajay, just bringing you to the stage. If you could raise your hand, that would be awesome.
Was I able to join the stage?
I did give him. It's saying providing a mic. Can we try again in case we could dismiss and
Yes.
Am I audible?
yeah, that is perfect. Welcome to this edition and all the best. I think you know the rules. You've seen one deck, so not jumping right in. You have 10 plus 2. Your time starts now. Feel free
Yeah.
to share your
Is
deck.
it my screen is visible? Because I
Yep.
am not able to see that.
We can
Yeah,
see your
we
screen
can
is
see your screen.
visible. Yep.
Okay.
If
Okay. 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 Okay.
okay. All
So
the best. Yep.
so I'll introduce myself. I'm basically working as an project manager and ERP consultant with Infosys, and recently started learning about product management activities and joined the product folks community. So I'll start my this Grofers case study with the user persona which I have basically started with. So it's basically a family of four, husband, wife, both working with two kids, total family income of 12 lakhs. And few ideas which came out from that is like they are price sensitive, they look for value for money, they're time constraint, and family is a tech savvy, and they prefer kids friendly and hygienic outlets to go. So these ideas we will use further in our scenarios. So the two problem statements, both I have explored extended further. The first is like launching toys and baby care, considering that as in like product discovery and like awareness problem. And then second is promoting own brands or to grow business from 40 to 60% is like growth challenge. So taking some cue out of Saurabh Kumar, the founder's interview note, which mentioned that they want to reach from 40 to 60 for our own, go for own brand. So for that one, I have used a framework triple A triple R. So to address this case study, and I've considered two scenarios, which is like first is scenario A is like wife, which is a little less tech savvy and have a certain needs, and husband will be having a little more tech savvy and already a user of a Grofer. So with that two approach, we will address the awareness in the acquisition area, and later on both will go hand in hand with the all the user journey part of the application. So am I audible? Is it like completely okay?
All good. All good. Please go
Yeah.
ahead.
So taking out the awareness ideas from the day in life journey of the wife, which is like they teach in school, they purchase products, and what happened? So they purchase products and they search for child related products online, and they do internet surfing and Facebook and WhatsApp. So the ideas which is coming out is as like cashback or co-branding with other products, promotion on educational blog, and YouTube promotion and social media marketing. Few of the examples for that is like basically Bonvita quiz contest as like sponsoring a quiz, or what Paytm is doing, or what Skillmatics is doing as in like promotional education blog. So that those were the ideas from the wife's day's life. And from the husband's day's journey, the two prominent thing is which is coming as like we can do product or category specific search engine optimization or the adverts promotion, and we will do a cross product promotion or coupons for our own brands. And push notifications dedicated for bringing the user to introduce to new categories. For example, I have tried to do some mock-up here where for the launching toys and care as a push notification or a pop-up banner on when someone is using the Grofar app to take them for to the new categories. But once we do this awareness campaign and we brings user aware about our the Grofar's products and categories, the two big challenges which comes is challenge number one is the brand recall of Grofar is basically primarily into discount online grocery stores, which is visible in these all the online searches which we do. And user doesn't get correlated with that Grofers can promote toys and baby care product. And second thing is how's good their own brands is. So they may or may not know. So to address this challenge, I was kind of proposing is like we go for launching a dedicated sub brand itself. I called it as Grofer Junior, wherein like that will be dedicated for toys and kids products and baby care products itself. The idea is it will not dilute the parent brand, and we can do a dedicated marketing promotion for the Grofers Junior as a sub brand, and specific positioning will be there, and we can take all utilization of existing wide network and delivery capability to promote the new brand. The idea of promotion could be by using the merchandising promotions with the t-shirts or the delivery bags which Grofers is already using to reach all the existing customers in the very short span of time and very less expensive. The idea is like to get them aware about the Grofer Juniors, the new brand. The second acquisition issues which is coming is like when someone comes and reads about Grofer, lot of not so happy comments on different review platform or the loyalty different review platforms and the app which they see. Those are related to basically delivery, return or loyalty related programs, and that basically adverse the conversion metrics. So some of them which I have seen directly on the first page itself on the app or the Google search, this is what I could see. Then the idea to address this problem is like two big ideas which is coming up is first is relaunching the loyalty program. I know this is big, but the idea is like Smart Bachat Club is not correlating with the Grofers itself. So the co-branding that with the Grofer, something like a Grofer's Premium or something on the similar lines, so that the Grofer's branding will come into it. And the second thing is a dedicated cleanup drive. So basically, if you don't clean up, whatever number of customers we are bringing in, they will eventually be leaving the platform like a leaky bucket. So we need to fix the holes. So this cleanup drive will work that way. The idea is like fix all delivery gaps and some of the default Google search, which is like Grofer customer care, leading to a lot of spam links. So that can be removed, that can be cleaned up, and app sync up with the website that needs to be, that can be synced up. And then the Grofer coins validity, that is a very limited validity and a specific product based usage that can be extended so that user will remain comfortable that okay, these are my coins I can utilize like a money. So that thing can be done. With these two challenges, once we few more supportive reasons for putting up as in like Grofer Junior as a one brand is like kids and toy and baby care products are like 10,000 crore market, and only a fraction of it is currently covered by online players. And as the toys and these products are like less price sensitive, no seasonal dependency and long shelf life, compared to the grocery, it gives a very heavy headroom to play around and to venture into a new category or new user segments. So that's a bigger opportunity. Because in the grocery, like cutthroat competition, bleeding competition, price pressure, seasonal dependency, so that makes a dedicated promotional as in Grofer Junior is a bigger opportunity. And second is launching Grofer Premiums will plug all the holes. The idea is the current view of Grofer's Premium page is basically shows that with membership X amount is saving and without membership Y amount is the cost. But immediately in the mind it register as like the price of the price someone is paying. So I tried to just shuffle the numbers just to display that with membership someone is paying zero amount and without membership someone is paying X amount. So immediately it will register as a like bang on image in the mind. So user can jump on and the conversion metrics will better off with this simple change. So that is what I'm assumption, but we can analyze that and decide that. But this is what I'm assuming. So that is one. So then moving on, so once user reaches to the home page, so this is our current home page, which looks like wherein like the lot of homepage inventory is screen spaces used in like the delivery banners and the membership banners, and the homepage banner is like just 2 images which is scrolling, which again putting the messaging in the lines of like Grofers is a super savings related. So and lot of category related tiles are getting repeated. So once I completely scroll up and down, the same category tiles gets repeated one after another. So I try to just reshuffle couple of things on the homepage banner itself, wherein like the banner header banner, hero banner is basically I try to add dedicated banners for Grofer Juniors and for the toys products and our Grofer's own brands and some additional brands which are like mostly getting sold. That is one. Second thing is a seasonal tiles which are currently coming in the very last part of the homepage. When I scroll much below, then I am seeing the Navaratri kind of banners, slides. So those can be brought up so that seasonal flavor can be immediately cached on, and specific tiles for our brands and the toy sections are added so that we will get a dedicated section or traffic movement to toys and our brand section, and all other tiles can be aligned in that same fashion. So then
Ajay, just a heads up, this would be your last slide, so concluding thoughts. We're just running out of time.
Okay. So I will just take just 1 more minute. So 5 unique proposition which I have given toy and baby care page, which is like purchase by friends. That section basically will increase the virality and growth, and we can increase the FOMO part. And then birthday bundles is what I have tried to add it so that it will increase the order value. Digital product and magazines are nowhere available, any of the child related products. So the idea is to get more engagement and more retention on the tiles page. And ask expert is added so that people can have a personalized recommendation for toys and baby care product. I will just quickly take to the summary slide, Suhas, just 1 second. So I'll move on to that all the last page. So what I have done is all the ideas, sorry for the time, this one, I have summarized all those points in four different buckets, which is like a big initiatives, digital marketing initiatives, and tech and UI changes. And I've tried to align them with respect to cost complexity versus the business benefits to arrive at a priority matrix part, which is like which is coming out as like a cleanup drive, Grofers Premium, and our brand's dedicated page could go first as a quick win, which is a smaller change, and then followed by digital marketing and tech UI changes. And later on, after that, we can launch a dedicated child related brand. And also in the similar timeline fashion, the same priority metrics can be utilized to make a maximum impact in a sequential logical way. So that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ajay. Akshay, over to you. I think
Sure.
if you would have any questions.
Can you go to the slide where you showed 5 recommendations for toys category?
Yes.
हाँ.
Yes.
So इसमें can you tell me more about purchase by friends?
So purchase.
As in, how do you implement this?
Yeah.
Briefly,
So the
and
idea
what do you
is.
expect? Yeah.
Yes. So the idea is like someone will know that if that person's friends is already purchased XYZ toy or a baby care product, they will immediately have a full trust. So the idea is to implement is like we will go for first, like you already have a Truecaller connection. So we can ask for people for referral to their friends network, and their friends networks can be built that a person A is having these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as in friends, and once those friends with that network, this purchase by friends page can be displayed.
Okay.
So the idea is to increase the virality without even getting someone pushing to virally promote anything. So it is an inbuilt viral mechanism will grow. Yeah.
So I get the trust part. I'm not sure about the virality part. However, another quick question. So you suggested digital products to increase fast conversion. So what is the consumer problem here? Why is this needed?
So the consumer problem here is like now the parents, kids are completely on the digital media, all the digital games and the animation related activities over the net. So a lot of educational products which are completely digital available online, but they are not having any promotional place to go. So if we add that here, people will we are solving two problems. One is the people will have a position to place, and the parents will have a curated list of online digital products that could be games or animated stories on the deck. So it will be a mini player, but will have more engagement.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
I'm done,
Thanks.
Suhas. Yeah.
Thanks, Akshay. Ajay, I mean, if we can just spend another minute, super curious on the first question that Akshay asked. You directly jumped into say the Truecaller bit, but how do you? If we can just spend another minute on that,
Yeah,
we understand the birthday bundle. We understand yes the referral bit, but how do you
yeah.
implement this and what is the idea?
So basically, if we the idea is basically borrowed from the Go Contacts. So Go Contacts, Go IBBO has done that. Basically, what they have done, they initially launched that if you share this promotion with X number of friends, you will get X number of points, and that will be the first part of it. So you basically take it to your phone book and share it with all the people, and the app will facilitate that movement. And eventually with that movement we will come to know person is having these 5 or these 50 or these 100 contacts, and once they onboard to the Groffer we will get new users. That is first. And second thing, if they purchase something, person A itself will come to know that these are the items which is already get purchased by my friends, so they will also
It's a
tend to buy
referral
that.
program.
It's a
Got it.
referral program, but someone is not consciously referring. So someone is not having it's a one-time event, and then it will be auto refer each and everyone.
What is the
So
first time incentive for them to do it?
so the first time incentive will be Groffer coins or some coupons, so that they can refer that. So let's say in Go Contacts,
Fair.
what they do is they will give Groffer cash. So each contact you refer, they give one rupee. So he like that. And if we get if we get a new customer for 1 rupee or 5 rupee or 10 rupee, this is a peanuts for the compare of the customer acquisition cost on normal e-commerce platform gives. And for the customer, it will be like $1,000 because they are saving 1,000 contacts, and they need not to bother again and again to push for furthermore, because tool will handle automatically after that.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing this great deck and all the best. Probably get some more feedback towards the end.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
wanted to add just one small point here, because this
It won't be counted in your scoring, but please go ahead.
I know. There is something which is like in the Groffer's checkout page, where it's like it gives a recommendation, and I wanted to move it to the product page itself. So that is something really which will, without doing much ado, it will immediately give results. So that is something which I wanted to add as a part of the revenue. This one, I know it won't be get counted, but just this what I thought. So I just rest of the things is already.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. Thank you so much, Ajay, and all the best.
Yeah.
See you.
Thanks for us. Thanks for the opportunity, guys.
Next up, yep, we're not spinning the wheel again since it's just one participant left, our finalist right now. Gauri, if you could raise your hand, would love to bring you on stage. Okay, sir. Perfect. Handing over the mic to you. You should be live. Yes, we can see you live. Perfect. So, welcome back, Gauri. Second time finalist. All the best for this time as well. Hope you nail it this time. I think loved your deck last time. So, all the best. A quick intro also, that would help. If you could just give a 10
Yeah,
15
sure.
second intro. You know the rules. So, handing it right over. 10 minutes sharp +2 for this time. Let's try. All the
Yeah.
best.
Cool. Do I start now?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Cool. So my name is Gauri. I'm a final year student at BITS Pilani. Just give me a second to share my screen. Yeah. So my teardown will start off with a brief problem groundwork before some product analysis and then the solution design. Starting with the groundwork, I'll have an overview of Grofers and the problem statement to allow me to outline my adopted approach. With respect to Grofers as an online supermarket, the main part I'd like to focus on is its customer value exchange model. Grofers is expected to exchange utility, fulfillment, and status to its users in exchange for purchases, referrals, and price signals. So the problem statement asks for a strategy that increase product adoption and user engagement on toys and baby care categories and the private brands within them. Diving into metrics, adoption is the discovery of a product and a user's first value transaction visit, while engagement is more of a recurrent loop of transactions over time. For an e-commerce website, engagement need not be inherently related to the amount of time spent on screens. So, because a short spend time with a low bounce rate would simply indicate that users find their products faster. So a user's adoption cycle would start with discovery and curiosity about a product. They then move to a trust in the value proposition, that's called the aha moment. Then they'd have their first and ensuing value exchanges with the product. And over time, you create a loyal user who's willing to refer your product to create more discovery. The engagement cycle is more recurrent but shorter. It consists of stimulation to return to the product, key actions, and then leading to the value exchanges. So for my approach, I will be restricting myself to the baby-centric categories. I've interpreted the problem statement even for the brands as being within the baby-centric categories, but my final solutions can easily be adapted to categories across the board. For my ideation, I will be going through the Shire's framework, which addresses every part of the adoption and engagement cycle. So that would have that will start with showing your product to help discovery, explaining your value to speed up the aha moment, humanizing and reciprocating during the value exchange, supersizing sunk costs, that is allowing users to do more to make them loyal users, incentivizing key actions to encourage users to return to the product, and reducing barriers to the completion of key tasks for the product. During my ideation, I'll be keeping specific user pains and needs in mind and looking for inspiration from a variety of markets. Moving to the analysis of the product from the user's perspective with respect to the problem statement. The user personas for Grofers with respect to baby categories can be divided into three main buckets. One would be the hustler, who's a busy and inexperienced parent who wants speed, assistance, and bargains during shopping. The nurturer is a more leisurely shopper who wants to include their children in the shopping experience. Their main concern would be verification of the quality of products for their children and shopping for the different growth phases of the children. And finally, there's a gifter who's just a friend to new parents who wants an easy way to shop for baby gifts. One main caveat here is the user base for this particular category is mainly millennials, because that would be the age group of people who would be having young children right now. Keeping that in mind, for the user journey review, I have assumed that the users are generally tech savvy, so I have not ventured into very minuscule UX changes. I'll go into my main recommendations. I have analyzed the home page, category page, product page, and cart, which are the four main interfaces which a purchasing user would encounter. From the home page, the main takeaway is that repetitive sequences of offers and category cards which are currently there is not too conducive to quick shopping, so that kind of warrants a redesign. From the product page, there are two recommendations. One is a save for later option, which would be helpful for browsing users, and a review card that is a more prominent display of reviews for users who are concerned with quality verification. Going into strategy design, I've brainstormed around 10 ideas through the Shire's framework before analyzing their trade-offs to come to a 6-point strategy. And I finally defined a few KPIs and field cases for the recommendations. So during the ideation, I use the Shire's framework as problem definitions and ideated with the user pain points that I defined in mind. For time constrictions, I won't go into all of the 10. Just to demonstrate my procedure, I'll look at one particular problem definition, that is supersizing of sunk cost, that's allowing users to do more with the product to encourage loyalty. So here my solution is a blog tab to educate inexperienced parents as shoppers and provide a sort of context for product recommendations. So this is very similar to this 10-minute recipe blog that Grofers already has. Moving on to the trade-off evaluations, I had my 10 solutions that I evaluated based on customer satisfaction, implementation ease, category potential revenue, and Grofers brand revenue potential. Again, to demonstrate, I'll take the advice blog as my use case. So for this would have high customer satisfaction because it's giving inexperienced parents not only like shopping guidelines, but also baby care tips. Then the implementation would be medium because, as I said, the recipe infrastructure already exists with Grofers. Finally, the category and brand revenue potential is high because users are being explicitly shown the value of the product recommendations, which makes it highly likely that they might purchase it. Going into the 6 points of 6 strategies that I did the DVS for. First is a threefold gamification of baby categories. This was targeted as incentivizing key actions. So the 3 features here are a basic twist, which would result in a set of Grofers branded recommendations for the child with respect to toys. Then scavenger hunts, which would be periodic promotions that reward the first few users who find specific Easter eggs within product images. And spin the wheel, which would have a simple hangman game of product names, which would give points to unlock a spin wheel. So here, users are allowed to engage their children in the shopping experience and also get a sense of accomplishment while accessing bargains, which might already have existed. From the perspective of Grofers, there is an association of fun with the Grofers products that encourages return users, and the product-centric games raises awareness and adoption. The blog feature, here again, parents are given advice and product tips, while the value proposition for Grofers would be the speeded up aha moment, where users trust that the recommendations of these in-house brands are not solely for business purposes. So over time, there's a sense of consumer loyalty and like more engagement with the category. Next is the homepage revamp, where I have reclassified all the features that are currently there on the homepage of Grofers, and my suggestion for the order of display would be first the educational blogs, because it would take relatively low real estate and it will give an aha moment. Second, time-specific promotions to give a sense of urgency, then brand promotions, and then other offers. So here, within each category block, this kind of an arrangement of components is recommended so that users are able to simultaneously analyze all the offers so that they can quickly browse and like bargain shop. For Grofers, this allows them to better display the brands and categories, leading to adoption and purchase. Review cards would be a more prominent display of reviews on the product pages, which would look something like this, which does not necessitate individually opening each user review. So here there's an immediate reassurance for the users about the quality of the product on opening their pages, and makes for quicker decision making and trust. For Grofers, again, it's a quicker aha moment and overall sense of loyalty. For minor features, the wish list is a bookmark feature which allows you to bookmark different products, which will aggregate as a wish list. So browsing users can speed up upcoming shopping sessions, and they can earmark products for a future age of the child or for value offers. For Grofers, this encourages engagement of category users who have to return to purchase these bookmarked items, and it can also be used. This data can be used for personalizing the home feed. The baby feed, the baby registry is a sort of gift list, wish list that party hosts can create and share with their guests for events like baby showers. So there will be quantities and an address added to this wish list, which the gifters can open and add to their card where the owner's address will be automatically set. So this is an editable list, and the quantities change as items are ordered. So here it gives an easy way for gifters to give gifts to the new parents, and parents receive gifts that they actually require in appropriate quantities. For grofers,
Gauri,
yeah.
Gauri, just a heads up. So sorry, just crossing the 10-minute mark. So would
Yeah,
love
sure.
if you
I'll
could
just take a
summarize
minute
right
more. Yeah. So yeah, for grofers, this a singular wish list encourages not only multiple category interactions and engagement, but also new onboarding users to access this list. So I've used ABC metrics to define a few KPIs that can be used to monitor the overall 6-point strategy. So yeah, all in consumers are allowed to enjoy a quick assisted shopping experience that's child friendly, while the baby categories and brands of grofers are made more accessible and valuable to users to increase adoption and engagement with relatively low implementation efforts. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Gauri. Akshay, would you have any questions for her?
Sure. So yeah, thanks, Gauri. Can you go to the slide where you introduce gamification? I
Yeah.
think it's hopscotch.
Um, yeah.
Okay, so while I get the ideas here, that quiz and hunts, can you once again share what's the reason you want to do this? What's the user need, user problem?
So as I defined in my user persona, there are some parents. So this is to kind of emulate a physical toy store experience where the child is involved in the process, and it's a kind of bonding experience for parents, which I defined in my user personas. So that's one. And in general, it incentivizes the bargains that Grofers is already offering, but it associates a more of a sense of accomplishment while accessing them. So it incentivizes returns to the particular category.
Sure. Okay, so these are more like games, right?
Yeah.
Quiz, hunts. How do you differentiate between games and gamification?
So since this is for a child-specific category, that's why I kept it with respect to games. But here, like, I'm still kind of advertising or pushing the grofers brands and deals the specific category while they are engaging. So it's more of a tool to engage the child in the process.
Okay. One more question around. You mentioned, I think, the somewhere that education blog creates a aha moment.
That's here. Yeah.
Can you just explain that once? Where you, I think, prioritize different things. That's where you mentioned that. Where you ranked the previous slide.
This one.
This
Yeah.
may.
I
think somewhere you mentioned, or probably the slide before this.
I think it's here. The quick aha moment. Okay. Under Grofers value proposition.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So I think today's consumers are kind of suspicious when about product recommendations, because they tend to be kind of business centric recommendations. This is to give a sense of like these are useful for these specific purposes or advantages to a child of this age for these reasons. So it's to give a sense of like value to these suggestions as well as the category in general.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gauri and Akshay. I hope these 3 decks were insightful. So without further, awesome. I'll probably give you 5 minutes to just go through a summary, and maybe you could just take some time to go through the final scoring. Meanwhile, we'll just chat, and then we'll bring you back on board for the product sparks as well as the fireside chat.
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you. Meanwhile, guys, couple of ideas, couple of things that we'd love to discuss. While Akshay is finalizing the winners, I think first of all, I think great decks through the. I mean, there's only a third one, but lovely seeing the progression, And one or two points that I observed, I think as a general, it's not a feedback. I think specific feedback will definitely come from Akshay, but love the part where it is, show rather than tell. Most decks are text heavy. This is great when you're sharing it across, but also remember, when you're reaching out cold to someone. I'm just sharing this as a general feedback. When you're reaching out to cold to someone who is maybe a little senior, and this could be for a role, this could be generally just want to share your thoughts. Everyone has limited time, so always remember, show rather than tell. Where you have multiple screens, you could easily put that in a GIF. People love seeing things visually, so that would be one general feedback for all three decks. I think this is across the board. Maybe you could share your show notes later in case the product manager is really interested. In case he can't get on a call with you, he could go through that. It could be a 1 page or 2 page or explaining your thoughts. But like I think someone mentioned in the chat section also, um, the slide, for example, in Ajay, that slide that he mentioned towards the end, we'd love to spend more time on that. So yeah, I think Akshay also mentioned in between. Karthik mentions in the chat section that 10 plus 2 doesn't do justice. For sure, yes, but imagine if we'd give even 5 minutes extra per participant, including intro, you guys would be around for another half an hour. So for the paucity of time, we kept it to 10 plus 2, but you'd notice each of these decks are anyway going into 15-minute sessions. So another 5 minutes there would mean, each session going to 20-25 minutes. Also, it's also important for us to structure these thoughts, right? I agree 10 plus 2 might not do complete justice, but you could always structure your thoughts such that you have at least your top 3 points coming out there. So that is how we're thinking of it, but feel free to share your feedback. Um, Apart from that, I think great decks overall. Um, One other observation was, across the board, like, folks who are early in their career focusing a lot more on, the experience bit. Folks who are later on in the careers focusing on the revenue bit. So maybe in the coming revenue slash the business side as well. So maybe in the coming sessions, I think we have something already planned for November and December. We'd love for folks to team up across the board. Senior folks, junior folks teaming up to do this. I think these slides would be super valuable in terms of, it is definitely improving in terms of quality, but I think, yep, just some observations. So keep adding your thoughts to the live chat section. In case you have any questions for Akshay, we have a small fireside right after this. You could ask things about Grofers, about his journey. Feel free to add it to the questions tab. I think Alan has already added some that we had got in the Eventbrite registration, but yep, feel free to add it in. Yep, that would be it from our side. I think Solai has also shared a couple of links in the chat section. This would be for our next month's teardown. In case PMs are attending this, in case you'd like to have a teardown for the company you're at, feel free to drop us a message on Twitter. We'd love to interact. And we'd also love to hear from you guys on how to make this better. So any feedback that you guys have, feel free to share it with us. Just a couple of more minutes for Akshay to finalize this. Hope you guys are as excited. So quick announcement on the winner side. This time Grofers has been super kind to offer 2 things. So all the winners, like the top 3, all of y'all get, no one's walking away empty handed. So all of y'all get 5,000 worth Grofers cash, as well as the finalist, as we promised earlier, gets a chance to interview at Grofers whenever there's the next opening and for a relevant position. So thank you so much to the entire team for supporting the community in this format. I think Akshay just gave us a heads up that he's
Yeah.
almost ready with the results. So Akshay, over to you.
Sure. So yeah, we are kind of ready. How do you want to take it? So I don't have any specific questions. I'll have some
Okay.
closing remarks for all
Okay.
of the guys, and I can also share the 3 product sparks
Yeah.
we discuss about. So
Yeah.
What do you want? Do you
Maybe
want
we
the winner first
Yeah,
or
I
the
think we could hold them off a little longer. We could do the product
sure.
spark. That could be like, interesting points. That so product spark is a new initiative. I think Sulai came up with it, where we get lots of decks. Those who can't make it to the top three. So Akshay has been super kind to go through them and pick some really interesting points that were, single individual points that were mentioned across these decks. So I'll be giving a shout out to the members who came up with those suggestions, as well as Akshay's thoughts on how this was super relevant or out of the box and why it would be the top three. So I think that
Uh,
could be great, and then we could
sure.
move to the winners.
Sure. So before I announce the product sparks, while those would be the ideas which interested us the most, they don't come from the winners, right? And there's a reason for that. So product teardown is more about understanding how a product works, how an app works, right? Why is something being done the way it is being done? And it's not so much about the ideas you throw out, right? We while creative, again, as I mentioned, creative ideas, they have some points, but they won't make you a winner. The most important piece of the whole session or the reason for doing this is how beautifully you're able to logically connect everything. This is who my user is, this is a problem that, and out of these problems, this is what Grofers can solve for, because like showing people live IPL matches is not really our expertise, right? So while that might be a problem for our user persona, we won't solve for that. And then specific ideas which solve for these problems, right? So anyways, the three ideas that really interested me, first one is the ask mom feature or ask expert feature. I think Ajay also mentioned that, and two other participants, Bristi Panja and Tanmay Sadhu, they mentioned this. So this was a cool feature in the sense, uh, for a category where recommendations mean a lot. Generally, people either look for reviews or look or ask questions there. Now, asking questions to the expert would be needed for some use case, and asking questions to the buyers, to the users who have used the product. Both of these serve two different use cases. In the sense, if I'm looking for something for my specific kid who has a specific need or a specific interest, I should be able to ask an expert to, or let's say you want to buy a gift for a kid, then probably ask a expert feature is something that you're looking for. Ask mom is again, like a lot of you covered it really well, that most of the, or rather almost all of the parents, after they become a parent, for first few years their whole life is around the kid, and hence they're searching for the right medicines, right food, right habits, whether the things that the kid is doing, whether it's supposed to be that way or something different. So in all those cases, ask mom, a feature like ask mom will really help us connect with them. With this feature, they're able to see Grofers as a friend, which helps them take care of their kids better. So yeah, that is one reason why we picked this up right on top. Second one is, it's a seemingly simple feature. It says combos inside the categories. So when you view the categories on Grofers app, let's say you go in juices category, right? You'll see subcategories like apple juice, mango juice, or probably um, le- uh, less sugar juice or pulpy juices, right? And the suggestion was there to have combos as another category there, and it made sense because we are recently discussing that juice is one category when while people are purchasing they look for combos, right? So a lot of people they don't really care about real juice or Tropicana, but they're looking for combos, and this behavior is seen across categories. So in that sense, it seems like a very relevant suggestion. And the last one is the simplest of all. Sorry, combos suggestion was given by Anshul Ahuja. So yeah, thank you. The last suggestion is given by VV Suryaprakash. It's a very simple suggestion. If you look at our membership page, we try to explain how you'll save using our membership. Right? We explain different things, that you get priority delivery, you get free delivery, you get rewards. However, for the user base that we target, they may not directly understand that what does priority delivery mean. And he suggested to add a I button, small I button, clicking on which I can read probably 2 lines about that. it really keeps the UI pretty tidy and also provides information that the user might be looking for. And in case the information is not there, then he'll surely drop off from there. So yeah, these three were the good three product sparks. Apart from this, two mentions. One was personalized sorting of categories. Number of you mentioned it, that the categories most relevant to me as a user, they should be on top. Like if I don't have a kid, then toys probably should be in the last. And if I'm a youngster, probably personal care or personal grooming should be on top. And another feature which was suggested was bottom navigation, which I think the first group they suggested, Shruti and Krishnamurti. I'm sorry if I forgot your names, but yeah, bottom nav is something which you can see across the apps where your key pages are there in the bottom of the page, because it obviously your thumb is easy to reach. In those positions, you have categories, offers, probably a card there. So this is a feature which we have been thinking about, and it definitely makes sense. So yeah, a number of you suggested this. So all in all, a lot of sessions, good sessions. To summarize, again, while I shared the deck with my manager and he was happy that he got so many sessions, my primary criteria was more around problem solving and how you tied everything together. And so just to give an example, when I was doing my MBA, we would joke that you can suggest that I want to get, let's say, Madhuri Dixit to dance for this product, right? It might be a very bad session, it might be a very good session based on what's the brand problem you're solving for. If you're building a product for my mom who used to watch Madhuri Dixit Madhuri Dixit movies, and she'll associate with her. And if the product is around dance, where adding her to the ad adds some credibility, then it would make sense to have her. However, on a ad for, let's say, a pen or a mobile phone, having Madhuri Dixit would not probably solve any problem for the potential users. So that's why starting with the problem and then arriving at the ideas, it makes sense, right? Now coming to the winner, I think it was close tie between second and third. First one for us was relatively easier to pick. So I would say winner for us is surely Gauri. Yeah, let's clap.
No drum roll, but congratulations, Gauri. Super happy to see you win.
Couple of points there. Good detail, good persona definition. She shared her assumptions beforehand. While our user base also comes from tier 2 cities with less salary range, but she cleared her assumptions upfront that I'm imagining my persona to be a tech savvy user, and hence her suggestions made sense. While I questioned her on games versus gamification, and she being a student, I think she is finally a student. Not all concepts would be crystal clear, and it's okay to make mistakes. But I hope all of you will go back and before, let's say, having a lot of confidence on a session, a lot more clarity on it would definitely help you when you are on the job. But all in all, really good presentation, good communication, good ideas, and good organization overall. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akshay. I think very hard to decide these winners, and I would never be able to do it. So, like, I know this is super hard, given that people come with diverse thoughts. If you guys also would have noticed, I think there are almost 60 plus still live with us. You guys would have noticed all three decks had such diverse thought processes to it, different points of um, that they bring from their experience. So well done to everyone. Like, huge shout out to you guys. While the winner is just to reiterate that the winner part is just to incentivize you guys trying to give your best foot forward. But I think you guys would agree, like, this is more from the learning perspective. For every session that even we are as organizers are doing, we learn so much from the decks, the effort that you guys are putting in doing this. And think of this as a journey rather than a one stop competition. It's about, we're putting effort to bring the industry closer, so that we can bridge this gap. But with each round, I hope you guys can practice, take the feedback that, as well as viewers, also the feedback that we're getting from senior product professionals. Try implementing this back even in further decks in case you're participating, but also, in your entire process. Say, you are an early product manager, if you're a product manager, while you're making the decks, each one as a role, it's not just for breaking into product. I see a couple of early stage folks, not just for breaking into product, but even while you go ahead, you need to sell your idea. Like I think we were discussing, maybe we will continue that in the fireside, but you need to sell your ideas, you need to put forward, your most crisp. So the reason we are sticking to that 10 minute is, guys, no one really has too much more time, like even beyond once you guys. So maybe Akshay will definitely share from his experience as well, but it's super important to get that buy-in even from your own teammates. So put your thoughts, more concisely. um, it's just learning for all of us. I get to learn so much from all the decks that I see. We'll be putting these out on our webpage as well, the top 3 decks, so feel free to check it out. So Lai has shared the link, but we'll put it in the chat section again. But yeah, once again, congrats to the winners, and thanks so much for that, Akshay. We'll just take 15 minutes more of your time for a quick
Sure.
fireside chat, if that is okay. I know we're running out
Sure.
of time,
That's
but
fine.
we have a couple of interesting questions from our audience. Guys, if you could go to the questions tab and quickly upvote on the ones you liked, that would be awesome. That would help us pick. Meanwhile, Akshay, just a couple of questions that we've received earlier on.
Yeah.
Um, to get started, would love to hear more about your journey. I've seen you worked across the board, then did an MBA, broken, and now you are currently a principal product manager at Grofers. So, how has this journey shaped up? What are your thoughts on actually doing the MBA? How was your experience there? If you could just walk us through, that would be awesome.
Sure. So I'll take you through my experience. Any specific questions in my explanation, you can obviously ask at the end. So I started as a techie. So I used to love computers as a kid. Absolutely love. We used to format our computer every 3 months because we'll mess up something or the other. So used to be a gamer and decided to get my engineering degree. Worked with Amazon, Flipkart, and my approach had been as an engineer was to always learn something new. So while my first job was around working in the kernel code of the operating system, second one was about writing web services in Amazon, which would be highly scaled. And if something breaks, you have to fix it that night itself because the website would be down. And Flipkart, it was around big data, Hadoop, HBase, all the big words of the time when I joined the team. We used to, the problem we were solving there was demand forecasting. So let's say we have a new Chetan Bhagat book. How many books does Flipkart expect to sell in next 2 weeks? Because based on that, we need to place an order with the suppliers, and so that we don't run out of books, right? So similarly, we used to do demand forecasting across the categories. Enjoyed my work, would have continued with Flipkart, but I was giving CAT by the side and got a chance to go to IIM Bangalore. It was a tough call because there are opportunity costs. You won't be earning for 2 years, and the fees is relatively on the high side, at least for India. But it was one of the best experiences I had. The reason being, I was a techie. I was on a good path to learn a lot of things, grow, become an EM or whatever. However, during my MBA, I really picked up a lot of things which I would not have learned about had I not done my MBA. So when I went to the college, I decided I'll study everything and I'll figure out what I like apart from tech in those 2 years. My intent was not to get a 4-pointer out of 4. So I studied a lot of finance, marketing, economics, basically figured out what I like. I didn't plan to come back to tech as a PM because I hated the role. I
Okay.
thought PMs didn't do anything because I, as an engineer, used to do most of the work that PM was doing. So anyways, decided to come back to Microsoft. There I was working on the ads product. It's like a search ads product. Let's say you search flowers delivery in Delhi on Google and it shows you some ads. Similarly on Bing.com, we have ads. So I was working there. Was there for almost 2 years, and when I joined Grofers, I joined as a APM.
Okay.
I took a lesser role or lower role because I was sure I could prove myself really well. Started working on the retention piece and the things you mentioned, rewards program, gamification. Worked on a lot of that in the first year. Then we worked on a lot on how the app looks, what is how to increase the amount of people spend on the app, how to increase the conversions. Like if 100 people come to the app, what percentage actually place an order? So built a lot of features, worked on recommendations. There was a feature that I'm really proud of. It's called Forgot Items, which helps you add items after placing an order if you forgot something. Because otherwise you'll have to cancel your old order and place another order. So that gave us good delta revenue. And currently I look after different problems. Obviously, as you grow up the role, you don't get to work directly with the team. Now, what happens is when you're APM, you're solving specific problems. How to increase clicks on this particular feature. As you go higher up the role, your problem statements become much more vague, and that will be the value you add, right? You take those vague problem statements, you figure them out, and you break them into smaller pieces so that junior folks can work on them.
Right.
So yeah, I've done a lot of that in monetization, merchandising, or the activation piece. That's
Very
been my
interesting.
journey, yeah. And yeah, it's not mandatory to get an MBA.
Yeah.
But having a tech background definitely helps me. I understand my developers like them. I can have a
Absolutely.
discussion with them. So yeah, definitely helps.
Absolutely. Yep. No, absolutely. And actually, since we're on that point, two questions, which is super talked about. One is, how has your experience been around? Definitely, you have a background in tech, things become easier. But have you worked with folks who are from a non-tech background trying to break into product? Have you hired such folks? Any tips for similar folks who are trying to break in from, say, marketing background, sales, CX, even analyst, any of that background? That would be one part. Second is, again, on the YMBA part, I think you covered some part of it, but very specifically is in case you know like you grew into the role of an APM, PM, principal PM. That way, would that have been possible without an MBA according to you? Because these are something that you could, if in case it was just for the learning, definitely that's something you could have picked off the internet as well, right? So these two things are often very well discussed outside, but would love to learn your perspective on this.
Right. I'll start with the second question first. For me, it would have been easier to become a PM even without an MBA because I exhibited some of those qualities as an engineer, and I was in a company where I was at Flipkart. So Flipkart generally has a lot of opportunities, and if you are willing and if you're good, you're willing, then leaders will support you and help you make that transition. Generally, people need an MBA to make that transition. Now, if you have a profile, let's say hardcore operating system kernel, or like my first job engineer, right? Hardcore C++ coder. Would it be really possible for you to become a PM at Grofers? I don't think so, right? Because you would not have all that context. However, had you been a coder at an e-commerce firm, you would have that context. Right. So having an MBA helps you cross this chasm, which is very large, being a hardcore coder and a consumer-facing PM. However, you can even probably transition in a way that first you become a technical PM, then you start taking care of consumer-facing things, and then gradually make your transition.
What are some specific things, like say you worked on scale at Flipkart, or you've seen a lot of things around e-commerce at Flipkart, which I would put maybe Grofers in a similar bucket where it is buying something online, very broadly similar bucket.
Right.
So what are three things that the MBA really enabled? Yes, crossing that chasm, but how exactly?
So crossing the chasm was not something that I got from my MBA. I could have done otherwise. So, but I would say I understand. So the things I learned there, right? Economics. So most of us think that economics is about money. Economics is actually about demand and supply, right? Why prices go up, down, why companies do something. So economics is basically the most logical, non-technical subject, and it definitely helps you imagine how your product will be used. What are the different scenarios that Grofers as a company will face? So it definitely helps you. Marketing for sure. Number of ideas were around you send, let's say, push notifications to your users, right? Or what banner to show to your user. Most of that is marketing. Now, marketing is not selling, right? So that is a misconception that marketing is about how well I'm able to sell this bottle. No,
Mhm.
marketing is about how well I'm able to make a bottle for Suhas.
Interesting.
Right. So you get your basics right there. Otherwise, you could have taken a digital marketing course, but
Yeah.
then you'll still need to understand the basics of marketing. How does consumer behavior work? Right. I think couple of years back, the Nobel Prize went to behavioral economics, Richard Thaler. So some of you can really pick that up. That basically says that your users are not rational beings. If you think you have explained a feature and then make them use it, now let's say 70 out of those 100 people would not read your explanation, right? And then the things that they are expecting again would not be rational. That is, let's say you mentioned clearly that 10% would be the cashback only on these categories. You have mentioned it there, but most of the people will miss it, and then they'll come back asking for something irrational.
Right.
So all these basics, I really picked up
from
during my
there.
MBA, but you can pick it up from across different books, different
Got
blogs.
it.
So yeah.
Got it. Interesting. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. The first part on the tech for PMs, would you like to go a little deeper, say for folks who are outside, how do they make up for, you
Right.
know, that?
Tech definitely helps, but it's not a mandatory background for a PM. You can come from marketing. You can, as Suhas mentioned, a different role. You can come from operations, marketing, sales, whatever, even customer support. So I was talking to the founder of Zomato the other day, because founder of Grofers and Zomato, they are like close friends. And he mentioned that he looks for PMs across his company, the PM traits. So if somebody from customer support team is really able to understand the most important user needs and do something for them or say something for them, which is not very fancy, but it solves a problem. Then he sees those product traits and brings them to the product team, and then he teaches them whatever is there. Right.
Nice.
Now the core skills that the PMs have, one is analytics, design thinking, experimentation, A/B testing, all these things, these can be learned.
Yep.
Right. But having that bend of mind, that really helps. If you're coming from non-tech background, I would say, so generally how we evaluate our PMs, we want them to have a strength. Now that strength can be out of a bucket of things. One is technology, engineering. Second is design. Third is analytics.
Yep.
So you should be good in either of these three things. If you're not a techie, be a really good analyst. If not both of these, be a good designer. Designer in the sense, not a graphics designer, but a UX designer. And you guys should probably read about it. There are a number of good books around it. Now, if you have either of these as your core strength, then you can pick up the other skills at some level and grow as a PM.
Got it. So it's a T-shaped skill, right? There are a broad range of them, but you need to be strong in one, and that's what you guys are looking for.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Akshay, for sharing that. Jumping right into the audience Q&A, I think someone pointed out there are a bunch of them for you. Let's see how many we can cover. So going by the upvotes, I'll take the first one last, guys. So that would be a good summary. That's around some resources that you could share with the community. The next one is around I think a couple of interesting questions around Grofers. So I asked, currently most campaigns from Grofers are in Hindi. Is there any kind of personalization of these campaigns that is going on based on, say, your location or IP address, or how does this work? What is the thinking behind this?
Actually, it should not be in, everything should not be in Hindi. Everything used to be in English because we are across different cities in India. It must be some customization we have done based on region. Or if you're seeing it in Chennai, then it might be just a bad campaign. You should share it with me.
Yeah, do share that feedback. But what are your thoughts around that? How are you guys thinking about personalization in general? Anything that Grofers is working on?
Okay. See, personalization is always there. Now, at what level is what I can explain. So let's say I operate in 8 different cities, and these are IPL times. Now, if I want to curate my campaign with some IPL context, it'll have to be different for these 8 cities. Now, that is one level of segmentation. Then let's say I'm launching toy category. I know people have been buying baby food from me. So if my target most of my campaigns to those guys, and for those guys I show my banner really up. For others, it can be somewhere hidden. That is personalization. That is segment again. These segment of users behave together, and then there is, I think, one-to-one level personalization where, let's say, Suhas, when he opens the app, he'll see what are the items he has bought in the last 10, 20 orders. So it's called previously bought items. Now, his list would be different from my list. And similarly, the recommendations he see on different, even his search ordering would be different, right? He would be seeing some recommendations on the cart page just before checkout. Even that would be personalized. So we use different level of personalization based on the problem at hand. Like the banners in Bangalore city would be different from Chennai, but at user level, I don't think we differentiate yet. But the products you see in the collections, they are definitely sorted at individual level.
Got it. Bunch of more questions around Grofers, but I'll just take one more.
Sure.
What does your pipeline look like? Like, what is growth in terms of Grofers next? What cities are you looking at? Where do you want to be, say, 6 months or 12 months from now?
Okay. So from outside, for any e-commerce company, the definite growth path seems to be to go in more tier 2 cities or more cities in general, right? Obviously, we have considered that, and we already operate in number of, I think, 8 to 12 tier 2 cities already.
Okay.
Now, most of the e-commerce companies are not profitable. Grofers is on the brink of profitability.
Nice.
So the highest priority for us is figure out what is the most profitable model, most efficient profitable model. Let's say in Delhi NCR, in our best area. And once you have that model, then you replicate it across cities. Basically, what I mean is, let's say I'm operating in 20 cities. I might be making mistakes in all of them, right? But before you start making mistakes in 100 cities, first perfect in one city, solve for these 20, and then scale across. Otherwise, you would be just wasting your money. So definitely going to tier 2 cities is not scaling to tier 2 cities is not an immediate concern, but doing things profitably and solving more and more use cases for the user so that they continue to see value in it. Right? Pre-COVID and post-COVID times are a lot different. So we are doing a lot of different things. Details would be too much, but we are trying many things.
For sure. Well, thanks so much for sharing that. In terms of growth, do you go horizontal as well? Today, maybe you're doing groceries and other stuff. Do you plan to go into, say, healthcare and compete with, say, PharmEasy at some point of time in the near future, or anything on that? So instead of vertical, would you be going horizontally?
See, it boils to the strategy the company wants to play with. Amazon is a everything store, so it makes sense for them to have toys, apparels, medicine, probably water bottles, everything, right? Even your luggage, probably bicycles, badminton rackets, everything. For us, till I think 3 months back, we wanted to be just a grocery player, and hence we didn't venture into a lot of these categories. Toys and stationery are very recent. So how we plan to grow is, imagine us as a new store in your neighborhood, which initially sells just grocery. Then the store owner starts keeping some stationery, some bathroom related stuff, buckets, mugs, like plasticware. Then he grows his store. Then he'll open a new section. Probably he'll add baby clothes first and then apparels, or he opens another apparel store next to it. So you grow organically to the categories which are most relevant to your current user base, right? And that's how we add more items to Grofers.
Interesting. Got it. To end this, maybe last 2 questions from this set is general PM questions. What do you mean by data-driven product management? As in, this term is getting a lot of hype. Actually, product management in general is getting a lot of hype, and that is another question. Just clubbing the two. So, what is data-driven? How do you define that? Is that something you test for someone? How can someone, an aspirant, prepare for this bit if that is something they should be focusing on? And what are some hard things about product management in general? What are some really hard things that people don't talk about?
Okay. First thing, so because I mentioned analytics as a skill that we look for, that is basically data-driven product management. To give you an example, let's say I ask Alan, here Alan, suggest me a category that I should start selling on Grofers, right? Or if I pose this question to all of you, you'll come up with different categories based on what your thoughts are or what your needs are. Some of you might say musical instruments, some of you might say electronics, computers, mobile phones, whatever, right? Now, all of these sessions generally will come with a lot of biases. Now, if my company founder says a category, the bias would be least because he understands my user the best. Okay? But if I ask Alan, because he's outsider to Grofers, he would not have the Grofers context. Hence, his opinions will be a lot biased against what Grofers operates in, and they won't be too relevant, right? So going back, let's say there was a PM 10 to 20 years back. At that time, the PMs used to be expert in their areas. Somebody designing a car would be really an expert in, or somebody designing the wheels of a car would be an expert in designing wheels, right? He would have a degree in probably, he would understand how synthetic rubber works. He would have a degree in mechanical. So that time, data was not available, and product management was all about expertise. Now, because a lot of youngsters and smart people want to join it, data becomes important, so that using data, you remove all of your those of your biases. Now, let's say people here suggest 10 categories that we should go for. What we'll do is we need to know what percentage of our users, or what is the category that most of our users want. And that is the data we need to look at before taking this decision. Right? Hence, we'll look for that data. We'll probably run a survey or something. This is when you're looking for, when you are going out and getting the data. Sometimes the data is already there. As in, let's say I don't have personalization yet on the app. Now I want to start personalizing. For that, let's say the feature that one of you suggested, right? The categories should be sorted based on my preference. For this, I need the data. What are the categories that I interact with quite often? Now that data is already available. I need analytics skills to look into that data, and the decision of which category should come on top. That is a data-backed product management.
Got it.
So it's not something very difficult. It's just when you don't know what is the right thing to do, you look at supporting data and then make the decision. Don't let your opinions bias you. The hardest things about product management, I think, working with people is one of the most important things, and it's really hard for some, not so hard for others. But the thing you really have to crack, because there will be difficult situations, there will be difficult people. Sometimes you want to do something, other guy doesn't want to. Sometimes you are being a fool and the other guy is making a logical point, and that time you need to let go of your brilliant ideas and have a rational understanding of what the other guy is saying. That is one thing. So working with people takes care of working with stakeholders. One of the most important thing is, again, ideas. So all of us are generally biased towards our own ideas. We love our ideas. However, we should love the problems. A product manager is not an idea implementer, he's a problem solver. Right? So because you have to solve a problem, obsess over the problems, you get one idea, probably somebody shoots down that idea, you shouldn't feel bad at all. You should take the learning from there and come up with a better solution. And you'll read this in different books that people go back, iterate on the solutions based on the feedback, and that's how they build a really good product. And let's say you build a reward program for Grofers. It's like 98%, 99% time you can't get it right on the first go. Right? So you again take your learnings from there, go back, probably get rid of features that you have loved all this while, and build something new. And then something really close to that is knowing your user. I didn't expect that from the participants here, that they would know my user, because my user can be very different from an Amazon user, and some of you might not be able to relate to that. But if my user comes from, let's say, a very small house in a crowded city, a crowded lane in Delhi, right? He has 3 people in the house, he pays 5,000 rent, doesn't have a car, only has an Activa. That is one user. And the other user is, let's say, either of us. The youngster probably owns a car already, comes from a good background. When you're building a grocery service for these two guys, we value different things. That user will value savings over everything else, while us will value 1 day delivery over everything else. Hence, some of you might have seen that Grofers doesn't deliver the next day; it delivers after 2 days. My real target group, TG, they don't really bother. If they get the savings, they're okay with waiting for 2 days. So understanding the user is again that you need to be good at.
Very interesting. Combining the two, like given your experience, say when you were doing case studies at MBA colleges or even afterward, what do you do when you don't have data? Now you're internal at Grofers, but let's take the example for a lot of folks who are working on say this case study. They don't have Grofers data, but they're definitely like in one of the decks we saw they're sharing solutions, they're giving the hypotheses, but most of the time it is something that you think might work, but definitely there's stuff available on the internet which you can back up to a certain extent. You can 70% you can back it up with data, then add a hypothesis. So any suggestions on how folks, all of us could work around data that's already available and build our hypothesis backed by some data at least?
Okay. So answer would be different if you are a participant or if
Okay.
you're a PM working at Grofers, like on
Right.
the job. Right.
Yeah.
If you don't have data as a participant, I think a lot
Yeah.
of you have already solved for that. I think you looked at the different press releases. You tried to run some surveys. You would
Yeah.
have probably talked to your peers, friends, family members to understand
Yeah.
key whoever is using it, why is he using it? Why does he
Mhm.
prefer it over others? So you create that data. You get that data from credible sources,
Mhm.
right? And you won't need data all the time. If you have candid feedback from the users, then that can supplement, that can replace the data. When you don't
Right.
have data, you go for candid feedback. Let's say a lot of my users are saying, "Ki, me and my husband, both of us use the app at the same time, but the cart does not stay synchronized. When I add
Mhm.
Surf Excel, it doesn't reflect in my husband's cart." We don't have data on this, but
Mhm.
because we have enough people telling us this, hence we know this feature is really important,
Got it.
right? So one thing, uh, while when you are on the job, sometimes you really need the data
Mhm.
because okay, why do you need the data? Because the cost involved in building something,
Yeah.
if that is too high, it's
Mhm.
too risky. Let's say you
Mhm.
spend 1 month building something and you don't
Mhm.
know whether this will work or not. So you're risking your whole team for a month, their effort
Right.
for a month. You want to
Right.
bring that risk down. How do you do that? Talk to more users
Mhm.
or just try to generate enough data to bring that risk down, right?
Good.
Sometimes that means that you'll delay your implementation by 2 months.
Mhm.
You'll just capture more events in your app, capture more data in your app for next 2 months. It's fine to
Exactly.
do that.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Just sharing an example, guys. We hosted a recent breaking into PM series, about 10 videos with APMs from Bounce, Flipkart, etc. So there was this girl who's currently an APM at Bounce, but she shared a very, very interesting thing. While she was looking to break in, um, yeah, like most of us, we don't have internal data of Bounce, but what she did was she used to um, go to different places where there would be riders, delivery guys from Flipkart, sorry, from Zomato, Swiggy, meet even Bounce, where those where those bikes are parked or when they're riding it, follow them on her scooty. She would follow them to the restaurant where they are picking up the order from, then delivering it. Just follow them. Once they're done with it, she spoke to almost 25-30 of them and then got feedback from them on what are challenges they're facing, made a deck and restart. I think that was super innovative. You just need to do small things. So you don't need great data. Like Akshay said, this is a mix of qualitative and quantitative. Speak to 20-30. You don't even have, like, I mean, today in the COVID era, that might be hard, but just trying to share with you, some innovative way, something out of the box, where there is always something that you can do to back it up. Just don't be lazy. That's all. Just think a little deeper. I'm sure there are different things that you can figure out. But Akshay, with that, thank you so much for your time. Last question. I think this was the
Yeah.
top one that I said I'd bring up. What are some resources that you'd like to share with all our participants, everyone joining in here, on how could they improve their skills? Specifically, it says around how do we improve our product thinking.
Okay. Okay, so if you're a new guy looking to learn about what product management is, you have no clue, then so actually I keep posting books on my LinkedIn, so I don't remember the name, but I'll give you enough clues. There's a book called Crack the PM Interview,
Yeah.
which talks about how
Okay.
does the product management differ across Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and startups. And I think the author is Gail Lackman, probably,
Yeah.
and she, I think, explains really well. So that is a, I think you always start with that book. Now, once you're already a PM, you keep on learning. You keep on learning from different marketing articles. What are different companies doing? Why is Grofers? Why is Zomato Gold now called something else? It's called Zomato Pro, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Why is that change being done? So when you understand the reasons behind these, that's how your reasoning and solutioning will improve. Specific
Yeah.
books, if you want to read, which I'm currently reading, one is The Design of Everyday Things.
Yeah. That's don't know. Correct.
Right? And now how
So,
that book helps you is design thinking. Design thinking, you should definitely Google it today. It's one of the core basics of product management. Mostly the UX designer in your team will be the expert in design thinking, but you also need to be good enough there. So it's a yellow covered book which shows a teapot where the handle is on the same side as the hole where you pour it from, and it kind of tries to make a point that there are really badly designed products, and if people are not able to use some products, it's not because they are dumb, it's because the product is not designed for the intended user base. So you should definitely read through that book. And last book is called Creative Selection. Again, I finished it I think a couple of days back. It's about Apple, how they went around designing the iPhone. Not everything, but they have shared I think 4 or 5 examples how they designed the keyboard, which was a really difficult problem, right? Designing a keyboard on a touch screen, glass screen for the first time. And how they approach that problem, they use some data, they try different things. So they say that they use heuristics and they use two things: heuristics and problem solving. Both of these together to come up with a good solution.
interesting.
And there are a number of books, so you keep on.
Yeah. Sure. This is a start. So, guys,
Yeah, there's a
this
start.
is a journey. Yeah. But thank you so much, Akshay. Once again, guys, Akshay shares a lot of interesting insights on his LinkedIn page. So do definitely go. Is that okay for them
Yeah,
to
sure.
connect with you on Twitter?
Yes.
That would be the best way to get in touch with you, or
Sure.
email.
Yeah, that would be fine.
Okay, awesome, guys. So please definitely go connect with him. In case you enjoyed this session, feel free to share your thoughts. Do tag him. I think he's active on Twitter and LinkedIn. Do share your thoughts. Any feedback that you might have, we'd love to hear from you. So feel free to reach out to us. Just hit it out on Twitter. I think we're very active there. Or you could drop us an email in case you'd like to join the team as well. We have folks on the team, so feel free to chat with us. We'll be hanging around in the lounge section for another couple of minutes. But with that, thank you so much. It's almost been 2 hours. So Akshay, thank you so much for your time. Sorry for
Thanks, guys.
crossing
This
over,
was
but
fun.
this was super interesting for us as well. So thanks once again to your entire team for just bringing back Alan and Solai to just share some more thoughts.
Yes.
Thanks once again.
Thank you so much, Akshay, for your time. It was a great session. Thank you so much. Could you please quickly put in? Could you please click the example? Yes. Awesome.
Hey guys, was a great event. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Akshay. Yeah, sure. And well moderated. Thank you, Akshay. Lots of insights, and I think lots of inputs for the guys who wants to participate in the tear down for the upcoming event. Right. So the important thing what we wanted to convey is like the registration link for the tear down is posted, and also we are sending the important dates to remember. Like the registration close on 8th of November. 8th of November, and the problem statement will be sent to you on 9th. So you can use the Diwali holidays productively to come up with submissions for next tear down, right? And you also have feedbacks for us in case if you want us to improve in certain aspect of how this event is run. give us heads up, and then we would pick it up and adopt it. We are looking for inputs to improve. It's just our third event. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Solai. And huge shout out to you guys for putting this together. So, yep, with that, I'll catch you guys in the lounge section. Thanks once again, Akshay. Thanks everyone for everyone joined this. Hope this was useful. And Alan, Solai, thanks once again.
Thank
See you
you.
again
Thanks,
in the
guys.
next day.
Bye bye.
Congrats, Gauri. Thanks.
Oh, yes, for sure.